Have you ever noticed the person you are most likely to forget is yourself? You remember everyone else's pain, everyone else's needs, everyone else's wounds. But when your own heart becomes tired, you quietly tell yourself, just hold on a little longer. Someday, when I become better, maybe I will finally be worthy of love. But dear you are not worthy of love because you are perfect. You are worthy of being cherished simply because you are who you are. Tonight, a story about a little lamb who always cares for others, and a magic mirror that finally helps her see herself. But this story begins with another story. Once upon a time, a story traveled through the forest. A little girl in a red cloak once walked alone into the dark woods. There, she met a quiet friend called Mr. Shadow. They walked a long, long way together, and he taught her something important. Kindness does not mean letting everyone come close. Gentleness, too, needs boundaries. The lamb always remembered that story. She remembered the red cloak dancing in the wind, and the little girl's brave eyes when she finally turned back. For the lamb was also a kind child. She always remembered birthdays, always noticed who had not spoken that day, always, on stormy nights, carried a small lantern to knock on the door of the lone little fox. She remembered that the little rabbit loved clover, that old Mrs. Hedgehog felt the cold. She remembered the bird with the wounded wing and how she stayed 7 whole nights until it could fly again. Everyone said the lamb was such a good child, but the lamb had a secret. She never felt that she was enough. When she watched the bird fly away, she thought, "My legs are too short. I will never be that light." When she watched the deer leap across the stream, she thought, "My steps are too heavy. I always disturb the water." When she saw others praised, chosen, illuminated by spotlights, she would quietly retreat into the tree shadows, believing that was where she belonged. She was good to everyone. To herself alone, she always said, "Wait, you don't yet deserve to rest." One evening, after bandaging the wounded squirrel, brewing tea for the sleepless owl, and guiding the lost hedgehog home, she stood in the empty forest and suddenly felt so tired. She was always busy studying what others needed: clover for the rabbit, warmth for Mrs. Hedgehog, whether the fox had spoken today. And then came that voice again. "You are not enough. You have not tried hard enough. You do not yet deserve to rest." The lamb thought it was love. She thought it was simply her own standard. But the mirror would later tell her that voice was never love. It was only the part of her afraid of losing love. It was only the part of her that was afraid of losing love, quietly trying to protect her. Then she remembered the girl in the red cloak, the girl who learned boundaries, who learned to say no, who learned to protect herself gently. But the lamb wondered, if kindness needs boundaries, what about me? Am I also worthy of gentle treatment? She did not know the answer. So she walked on, head lowered, step by step, deeper into the forest. In the deepest part of the forest stood a stone that had bathed in moonlight for many years. Upon it rested a mirror, its frame wrapped in dried vines, its surface slightly fogged, yet glowing with a light that did not come from reflection, but from somewhere deep within. The lamb stopped. She was afraid of the mirror, afraid to see her wool not white enough, her horns not pretty enough, afraid to see the not good enough self she herself did not want to face. But she drew near because she was too tired to even feel afraid. She lowered her head and asked in the smallest voice, "Mirror, oh mirror, who in this forest is most worthy of love? Why does that person never seem to be me?" The lamb had always believed that perfect meant trying harder, ending one more person, remembering one more thing, cohorts. But the voice in the mirror would say, "You think perfection is a place you have not yet reached. But look at you now, head lowered, steps gentle, heart full of others. You have spent so long believing you must become better before you can be loved. But little lamb, your best effort is not something waiting at the end of the road. Your best effort is already a beautiful thing." The mirror's surface began to glow, like a winter lake melting gently under sunlight. Then images appeared. Not the lamb's face. It was the bird she had comforted, now perched on a branch, singing to the moon. The song held one line: "Thank you for staying with me through the dark night." It was the fox she had kept company, no longer alone in his den, but walking side by side with another, their tails brushing. It was the path she had lit for the lost fireflies, now covered in tiny white flowers, swaying in the night breeze. The lamb was stunned. She had never thought she did anything special. She had simply been there. She could not help but ask, "But mirror, those are others' light. Where is my light?" The voice in the mirror rose and said to her, "Little lamb, you have been searching for light, but you do not know. The light others see was once brought by you. You think you must become something else before you can shine, but the light has always been inside you." You have simply kept your head down too long to see it. You need not fly higher than the bird. You need not leap farther than the deer. You need not become someone else to deserve your place here. For happiness, in its truest form, is this: I think others are wonderful, but I too am more than enough. You have been searching for your worth. But you have forgotten you have already given love to so many. And that love never left. It has simply changed its shape. And now it returns to you. When she finished listening, the lamb's eyes grew wet. Not with sorrow, with the kind of tears that come from finally being seen. She had always believed love was a feeling of being chosen, like Cinderella seen by the prince, like the ugly duckling becoming a swan. But the mirror told her, to be loved is not to be chosen. To be loved is this: you are already here, and the light was already shining on you. You do not need to shine brighter. You only need to allow yourself to be seen by yourself. Slowly, the lamb raised her head, for the first time not looking down, but letting the moonlight fall directly upon her face. Her wool was just as soft, her horns just as small, her steps just as light. But something was different. She suddenly felt this was already enough. Not the enough that means good enough, but the enough that means no more. No more running, no more proving, no more becoming someone else. Just this. Enough. The light in the mirror softened, like a lamp about to fall asleep. The lamb did not leave. She curled beside the mirror, burying her face in her own warm wool. The forest was quiet. Stars appeared one by one. In the distance, a figure in a red cloak and a long shadow seemed to walk side by side beneath the treetops. They did not look back, but the lamb knew they too were somewhere, quietly guarding this forest. The next morning, when the lamb awoke, the magic mirror was gone. For it knew the lamb no longer needed a mirror to see her own light. If you are listening to this story, I want you to remember the part of you that always feels not good enough has already tried so hard. You do not need to become someone else to be worthy of love. You do not need to be perfect to deserve rest. You do not need to care for everyone else before it is your turn to be cared for. Tonight, let the one who always gives love be gently held too, held by your own kindness. Good night. May you rest in the quiet truth. You were already enough.